Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet365. Whomever you are, please put away the Cubs voodoo doll. We've had enough. The offense missing in action against the Reds and all of the other horrible things that happened tonight. We'll talk about them next on CHGO Cubs. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? This is the CHGO Cubs podcast driven by Toyota. Let's go places, Bet365. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Use the code CHGO365 at sign up. Cincinnati Reds come back and win 3-2 at Wrigley Field to start the series. The offense is missing. The newest Cubs solution in the rotation appears to be hurt. And all of the other crazy things, as I said in the open, we had bad base running, we had bad defense, we had bad luck. Bad. And no, if you're in the live YouTube chat, I don't think they should have traded Kyle Tucker and gone for a haul, but here we are.
No, they should have traded Pete Crow-Armstrong. Start over.
Get the haul.
Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, and Patrick Norton with you tonight. Sarah running the ones and twos. This was a bad loss. We will get to your super chats in just a bit. Hi to everybody in the live YouTube chat here at the all-new CHGO Cubs YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a total stranger. And a lot of people are angry in that chat, and I understand why. And hopefully we will get an update on whatever is going on with Michael Soroka. We'll talk about him in a second. First of all, Joey, just how do you feel after a game like that? Is it somewhere between a dry heave and a vomit, or is it just a full vomit?
Oh, I choked back down the vomit about
right.
15 minutes ago, Luke.
It's up here.
It's good to be with you, gentlemen, tonight. It's good to be with everyone in the chat. I got a feeling it's going to be a cranky night. We got baseball tomorrow, but there's no problem with focusing in on a little bit of the cranky for right now. Unfortunately, what has become a habitual nature of this Cubs team over the last month or so, just playing ugly opening games to series.
Yeah.
We'll obviously get into and we'll paint a positive picture that, for the most part, they've been winning about 66% of their series this season. But again, another disappointing start to a series. The Brewers won again tonight. And Luke, as you teased, we'll go in order, folks. We'll go in order. There is a laundry list of things to be cranky about, be upset about, be disappointed about, and we're here for you tonight. Patrick,
we're reaching a point where we're going to stop scoreboard watching because we don't want to see how far the Cubs are falling behind.
If you didn't see it, if you didn't look, did it happen?
Exactly.
One of those theories.
Not my world.
Let's start with the offense. I know we could start with Soroka, but in general, the offense has been missing in action. You've got 11 runs in the last 4 games. The Orioles series, while you win 2 out of 3, was much more difficult than you had hoped it was going to be. And tonight, 3 hits after their really good pitcher is not even in the game.
Yep.
3 hits is all the up. I don't know what's going on with the offense. All I can tell you is their biggest hitters aren't hitting.
Well, and some of the things that we were admiring about this team and believing that maybe this team had some mojo or had a little magic, the Carson Kelly factor. I'm not saying Carson Kelly has been awful, but Carson Kelly's your cleanup hitter right now. His name is in Cal Raleigh, right? So your catcher is your cleanup hitter right now. I've watched a lot of baseball. Typically, that isn't always the recipe for success. And I was doing this exercise coming in here tonight, and unfortunately, kind of followed through on my stat. It's the order right now, 1 through 3. Any combo right now, Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki, major part of that right now, but they have flip-flop between Michael Busch and Nico Horner. 1 through 3 tonight, 0 for 10. Since the All-Star break, 1 for 3 Just that whatever that combination is for the Chicago Cubs right now, and I'm sorry I did not include Justin Turner's pinch hit walk off because he hit in the. We're not counting that. I'm just talking
just
about
1 through 3 since the All-Star break.
The production right now in 16 games since the All-Star break. The 1 through 3 of the Chicago Cubs is 32 for 170. That's a 188 batting average. They only have 11 RBIs in those 16 games. They have scored 16 runs. But Patrick, we know. The bread and butter of this team to start off the year was Seiya leading the National League in RBIs. King Tuck, $500 million. At the time, it was Happ getting it done at the leadoff spot. Michael Busch gets hot. They move him to leadoff spot. He cools off. It really starts there for me because we can't have these nights where last week it was Nico and Matt Shaw carrying the offense. Tonight, it was just Dansby. It starts for me at that 1 through 3, and they have to start delivering if we are going to stick in a suddenly feeling like a perilous divisional race.
And it's not a matter of bad luck on balls in play either. It's uncompetitive at bat after uncompetitive at bat right now. We're seeing a lot of just swings and misses. You're going to see that against high leverage relievers, but you're seeing it in moments where you don't expect that. You don't expect that in an unexpected bullpen game a day after a scheduled bullpen game for the Reds. You don't see that from top of the line bats the way that you are seeing it in the last 3 weeks. And that's the situation that they're in right now, and that's what they're going to have to get themselves out of.
Isaac in the chat said you can't expect to win games with 3 hits. Absolutely true. And I still, while I'm not going to say it comes down to one guy, there is one key player that has a major trickle-down effect. It is Kyle Tucker. Like, you got to get Kyle Tucker right for the last 2 months of the season. And he knows it. The team knows it. He knows it for multiple reasons, financial and success this season, right? Like, he's got to be feeling that. And I don't know what it's going to be. He's tried red belt. He's tried red shin guard. He's tried blue belt. He's tried red shin guard with blue shin guard.
This is Dr. Seuss.
I mean, he's changing during the game because he's so superstitious. He's trying to find something to get it going.
Where's Matt?
The reason
Caesar's
he's
bat?
so important, though, is because we have believed all season that a lot of Seiya's success this year has come from batting next to Kyle Tucker, the pitches he gets to see, the trickle-down effect of that. Some have said PCA benefits from that. No, the answer is the whole lineup benefits when Kyle Tucker's in it. That's why I begged for the Cubs to get a superstar player and put him in the lineup. They did it, even if it is just for potentially one season. That guy impacts everything. And right now, he's going through a tough stretch. And so is the rest of the offense. Listen, it can't last forever.
No.
It can't last forever. I believe in the offense that I saw early in the season more than I believe in what is going on as the real Cubs offense now. The problem is the Brewers are so stinking red hot that it's happening at a horrible time. Happening at a horrible time.
No, that's incredibly fair because, look, this Cubs started off the season, they were scoring over 6 runs a game. They were on pace to score as many runs as teams from decades and decades ago. Of course, that there was a regression to the mean. But I'm with you on Kyle Tucker. And look, I'm just going to give out facts, but I'm not giving out brownie points. I thought Kyle Tucker hit the ball hard twice tonight on the ground. Obviously, ground outs, no show, no show, no dough, right? Was able to get a walk, get on base. He does have, so surprisingly, the Cubs are going to play a lot of the NL Central now coming up over the next 3 weeks. They're going to have the Reds in this series, Cardinals. They do play the Blue Jays in between there, the Pirates and the Brewers. Walking into today, Kyle Tucker was hitting .313 against the NL Central, 5 home runs, 16 RBIs, 27 games. That goes down to .303 tonight. So he does have good numbers. These are going to be good matchups for Kyle Tucker moving forward. But having said all that, this is a guy who, as you said, Luke, honestly needs to carry you right now. Yep. And it isn't just about getting on base. He is not Kevin Youkilis. He is supposed to be Kyle freaking Tucker, right? And so we need him to start hitting the ball in the gap. We need to start having him hit the ball over the fence. And we need to start generating traffic somehow. And I think Kyle Tucker was a big part of that to begin the season. And we need that ASAP, like tomorrow.
Before we even get to more Kyle Tucker, the latest news is that Craig Counsell has said Michael Soroka is going to the injured list already.
Already?
So we got 2 innings out of our trade deadline star. The pitcher that we all begged for Listen, it's not his
We all
fault. I feel bad for the guy, but again, this is why a lot of people were saying we need 2 starters. We need a frontline starter. We need this. You can't envision that it's going to be an injury. However, I will say that the velo was down on his fastball before he got to the Cubs. Tonight it was down almost 3 miles an hour or 4 miles an hour from his season average. So there was something going on. It's his elbow, it appears.
Shoulder,
headed,
I believe, right?
Yeah, but did they say elbow or shoulder? Hold on 1 second.
He was spinning a lot of curves tonight, gentlemen. So.
I'm sorry, it is. With right shoulder, headed to the injured list.
Yeah.
So you got 2 innings out of a guy that was supposed to help save the rotation.
Provide innings. Just provide innings down the stretch, and he gave you 2. Now, again, not his fault.
What's the return policy on? Is it 30? Is it 30 days with proof of receipt?
Yeah.
Listen, you knew his velo was down.
Yes,
I don't know if it's connected, but it wasn't like it wasn't obvious. Everybody talked about it when they got him.
Open box. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like buying the meat at the store that was sell by 2 days ago, but it's on 50% off, and you're like,
the picture of the record player that says,
you know what? That steak can't be that bad. Throw it on the grill.
And you know what? The thing that really stings about this is what Jed Hoyer said about Soroka after this trade deadline. And we
need him to give us more than 2 innings.
Well, yeah, he will. Well, first of all, the first inning was my favorite personally, but no, the second inning not so much. But the way that he spun it was this whole thing about like he had his eye on that 50% off meat for a while. That they had targeted him in the lab, and they felt that they could outsmart the room and bring him in, and maybe if the pitcher had stayed healthy, maybe that would have been the case. But the only problem was, and it was factual, and everyone knew it, that the velocity was down. It had been down not just recently, but it had been in steady decline for over a month and a half. The guy went out there. I saw a couple 89s on the board. I think he touched 91 maybe a couple times. And, yeah, that slurve was biting, but, man, he really had to snap on it. One of the curveballs obviously ended up in the seats on 103 miles an hour, Tyler Stevenson, but maybe that's a little bit of what you get when you're not trusting your velocity. You have to go out there and really hang on that slurve, and next thing you know, your shoulder's barking. So
you brought up an interesting point in what you were just saying too. It rarely goes well for a general manager, and I'm not going to harp on it too much, but it rarely goes well for a general manager who thinks that they're the smartest guy in the room.
We've seen, and look, Matthew Boyd, a little bit of the smartest guy in the room, and he's right, and he's correct.
There are times.
And lucky us, right?
Sure.
But there have been other moments, too, where, again, I think they go to, it's like an indie, they love the indie rock records, you know what I mean? They just try and source these diamonds in the rough, and they believe that their system and their philosophy, their structure can get something out of these guys, and you are, as much as you're going to win in that regard, you are going to get mixed results, as opposed to maybe some of the other relievers and pitchers that were on the market over the last week.
I agree with that. I think with Matt Boyd, he's an interesting case where his numbers were good. He just wasn't on the field enough. He wasn't on the bump enough. And it comes back to the looking at his numbers and what his projections were for this year. And he was only projected to throw 60 innings because I think either they were projecting that he was going to get hurt again or they were projecting that he was going to come out of the pen. It was a easily debunked theory from wherever those projections were from. Luke would know. But the other thing on this too, this kind of goes back to Milwaukee. I don't know if you guys have seen this part. I think since June 1st, the Cubs have the 4th best record in baseball is the stat, and they've lost 9 games on Milwaukee in that same stretch. That's
you
cruel.
keep thinking that won't happen. The Brewers won't keep playing like that, but right now they are playing like that. But it's stuff like this where I think most people were unhappy. Most fans were unhappy with the trade deadline, and I heard Justin Turner today on the Score, and he's right in that you don't know which path. You don't know which path is going to work. Sometimes teams make big splashes and it's nothing. Other times, Tommy Edman turns out to be a star and win the World Series. You don't know. I can tell you this. This is not a good start.
No.
This is not a good beginning to the post-trade deadline era for the Cubs. It has not started well. We hope it's going to get better, and hopefully it's not as bad as it looked for Soroka. We're going to talk more about that. We're going to talk more about the offense. And frankly, what was the most disappointing part of this game for you tonight? because there's a lot of choices. Let us know in the live YouTube chat. But first, a word from our sponsors at CHGO.
Hey, baseball fans and sickos out there, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. So sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit $10, and place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. With the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner also if your team gets 5 runs ahead with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. So download the app and use code CHGO365 when you sign up. Remember, new customers get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. So sign up, CHGO365, deposit $10, place a bet for $5, get $150 in bonus bets, player props, futures, and more whenever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365. Remember, you must be 21 plus or older. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. In-app apply.
Pay attention, everybody. If you're thinking about upgrading your drive this season, Toyota's 2025 lineup is worth a look. There's the RAV4, versatile, reliable, and ready for adventure. Grand Highlander, plenty of room, great for families and long road trips. Looking for efficiency? Well, of course, the Corolla's got you covered. It's smart, it's stylish, it's easy on gas. If you need something tougher, Tacoma brings serious durability. And finally, the Camry, sleek and packed with performance. Summer starts here. Visit your local dealer. Find your deal today. You can also check out the lineup at Toyota.com or stop by your local Chicagoland Toyota dealership. Toyota, let's go places. What a time right now to sign up and be a CHGO diehard. Upgrade your fandom today. Get access to our exclusive written content. Don't miss any of our Cubs stuff. And, of course, the great Adam Johns here talking Bear stuff as well. A free t-shirt, plenty of discounts on future merchant events. We even have a Cubs event coming up here this week. Go to allchgo.com for the latest information on how you can join thousands already in our community. So the Cubs lose 3-2. It was a ugly game at Wrigley Field. And their new pitcher, Michael Soroka, is headed to the injured list with a shoulder injury. That lasted all of 2 innings. But as we mentioned, the Die Hard deal, I want to let you know that we have a special deal coming up right now because these are critical games at Wrigley Field, and you can be there with us hanging out. This Friday, next Friday, the 15th, we have the Pirates in town. This is for diehards only right now, and we got like 1,000 new ones in the last couple weeks.
Yep.
We meet at Murphy's Bleachers. The ticket deal we're offering right now for diehards is a rooftop deal next to the firehouse. It's all the food you can drink, all the drink you can drink, all the food and drink you can drink. And now we've doubled it up. It's twice as tasty.
I know.
Yes.
That's
twice
crazy.
as tasty.
Yes.
But here's the great part of it. We already know the games against the Brewers will be critical. So that's the Friday game against the Pirates. We're also giving you for the same price, going back to the same rooftop on Monday when they play the Brewers.
That's big. That's big. That's huge.
Listen, I can see people wanting to just go for the Brewers game. So then the Pirates game's the bonus. Whatever way you want to look at it, it's an unbelievable deal. If we don't have enough people among the diehards, then we will open it up sometime this week to everybody.
Oh, great. We'll figure it out now, diehards.
Figure it out now,
gonna
diehards.
go fast.
And there aren't many tickets, so you do have to you got to get on it soon.
I will say with the diehards, the chat right now, I'm seeing some paragraphs in the comments.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not seeing like 3 or 4 words here. I'm seeing paragraphs. I'm loving the passion. I do just want to say just very quickly about Soroka. I'm a little conflicted, right? Because when Soroka was acquired by the Cubs, I don't think anyone thought that he was going to be a difference maker. So him going on the IL right now is disappointing. It doesn't look good for Jed. But I will say just in general that the mission has not changed when it comes to what I think Jed Hoyer is trying to do with the Cubs. And in this regard is that I think when they brought Soroka in, I think they're saying to themselves, we feel confident enough where we need to start figuring out how to cover that 5th day, the Ben Brown day that we've been railing against for weeks. And they thought Soroka can maybe bridge them the next 2 or 3 turns, maybe even 4 turns, 4 starts, and hope that Jamison Tyone or hope that Javier Assad comes back, and maybe Soroka's good. I think that's what the hope was. Now that Soroka's on the IL, the mission does not change. It probably goes back to Ben Brown. But I think they're in that same boat again of trying to cover that fifth day and just sort of get to a spot where maybe they get a couple guys back. But I don't know if we've looked at the Jameson Taillon box score recently and how that's going to work.
Yeah, that's 7 earned runs in his rehab start at Iowa. We have a couple of Toyota Super Chats tonight. Steven says, Dansby, we will talk about the Dansby Swanson play. And then Ramon for $4.99. At this point, the Cubs will sign Kyle Tucker for 3 years at $100 million with a player opt-out after 1. This is not a $400 million plus player right now.
Right now is the
right
word.
Now part, sure.
Yeah.
Neither is PCA. Are you not giving him a massive extension?
We're going to have to talk about PCA as well. As far as what you're saying about the fifth starter spot,
yeah.
The more I watched after the trade deadline, and I was thinking, I don't understand what they did. I don't like what they did, but it feels like they tried to thread the needle with what they said they were going to do at the beginning of the season. Jed actually said, we're going to try and make incremental improvements in the offseason. He talked about how little things they wanted, and they would hope those would add up to big improvements, right? So, little improvement here. Might not seem like that to much. It worked in some cases, right? Like Brad Keller worked. Incremental improvement. Matthew Boyd is better than Kyle Hendricks was last year. Little incremental improvements. PCA made more than an incremental improvement so far this season. But doing it at the trade deadline seems like a disaster because you don't get these opportunities that often. So I don't understand it. After it worked, I don't understand it. And so here we are. We will see. But all I know is tonight's game wasn't just about Soroka only pitching 2 innings and heading to the injured list. Tonight's game was about sloppy baseball. Ian Happ misplayed a ball and left, led to a run. Then Dansby Swanson has the game-tying run wiped out because he missed first base running down the base path. Now, they won a game earlier in the last 5 days because Dansby ran hard to first. I'm not saying he's not running hard, but you got to get to the bag.
Yeah.
You got to get to the bag.
That's day one
Good
stuff.
heavens. And the look on his face, which is probably a meme now on Twitter, says it all. He can't believe it either. And then PCA, who didn't start the game because he's been on this horrible stretch of like 8 strikeouts and 10 at-bats, finally gets into the game, and he gets hit on the elbow. Boy, I hope that's okay. And then he seems a little miffed at first base, understandably, right? They throw over there. Now he's peeved because they made him slide back into first. Then they try to throw behind him and make him slide back again. Now he's really mad. But it's another example of, yet again, somebody's got to get to the young guy and say, bring it down a second.
Yep.
Bring it down a second. He was a little over anxious. The ball's got to get through. I'm not mad at him. I'm saying the ball's got to get through. You got to see it get through. He was so anxious to get the third on it, to be like, oh, yeah, you're going to throw over on me? Here we are.
And, Luke, I want to follow up with you just really quick. Let's just walk through this as objectively as we can. In your opinion, why do you think Craig Counsell sat PCA tonight?
Because he's pressing.
So, okay,
right.
So
I would have left him out. I don't know if I would have brought him in.
I know, and that's the question. That's the thing that I'm kind of driving at a little bit, is that you're trying to win a game, but at the same time, you're trying to take care of a guy who, what would you say, 8 Ks, 8 strikeouts last 10 at-bats?
He was 0 for 10 with 8 strikeouts.
Right, and we've talked about this on the show, and I think he's got a real plate coverage problem right now, and we talked about how emotional he can be, and you saw it literally in real time tonight. That I think that they sat him to clear his head. If you're going to sit him to clear his head, give him the 24 hours, Patrick. Like, bringing him into this game, it backfired on Craig Counsell and PCA tonight because he K'd in the first at bat, he gets hit in the second bat, and then again over aggressive on the base paths, and it's this incredible talent that he needs to learn how to harness. And I just don't know if right now. I just don't know if he's not in the best mind frame that he's been in throughout the whole season.
Rob says he sat because the starter was a lefty. Yes, and also because he was 0 for 10 with 8 strikeouts.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you on that.
If PCA was ranking like an MVP right now, it wouldn't matter if he's righty or lefty.
I know, but he's not Michael Busch, right? PCA's been playing against lefties. PCA's hit lefties this year. I hear what you're saying, But I'm with Luke on I think that they sat him down to try and give him a bit of a mental reset, clear him out a little bit.
I want to ask you, Patrick, but I feel like it would be very easy to say and understand if PCA is feeling the pressure of the offense struggling, Tucker struggling, Seiya struggling, and him being the young guy who all of a sudden has been thrust into this massive spotlight because he's having this incredible season, an all-star MVP talk, and being like, I'll do it, and he's trying to do a little too much.
It's a 162-game season. We're 2/3 of the way through. It's a mental game for a lot of these guys, but there's no player that wears his heart on his sleeve more than Pete Crow-Armstrong. I'd say probably no one's done that in a Cubs uniform like PCA since, Zambrano? I just to that, or I guess Javi.
Wilson also.
Wilson too. All right, so I missed a few.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. I've never seen anybody get as mad after every single
at bat as PCA. That to me is Zambrano-esque in terms of a bad pitch or an at bat doesn't go his way. He's pissed on the mound. He's got to rein that in. Simple as that. It's got to be reined in. It's worked out. It's been to his benefit a lot. And we haven't seen a slump like this year. But he does kind of need to just, settle it down on the base paths. What did I say? I was saying it while he was at first. I was saying he's going to go in a bad spot or he's going to get picked off and do something. I didn't end up calling the right thing, but I just had a feeling that there was a mistake coming because when you act like that, you are in your own head.
You could see him swearing under his breath the first time they threw over and saying something towards the mound.
You're going to make me do that with my elbow.
And then it was almost certain, and sure enough, they threw behind him and almost got him at first.
Big time. And the other team sees that too. They know that they're in your head. That's what it comes down to.
And when you are just maybe slightly, whatever it is in your head or trying to be over aggressive or wanting it so badly, you take a bad secondary lead, right? And you go one step to second base on one big step, and when a liner goes to second, and you know the rules, you know how fast you are. You need to stay in your tracks there because if that ball gets through PCA, you're getting to third either way, right? Yeah. So it's that little stuff right now. And let's be honest, to be fair, it's kind of been compounding a little bit. You've had a drop fly ball here, a misplay in left field there, base running mistake here, base running mistake tonight. Now the Ks are starting to pile up a little bit. And I feel for the guy, but again, as a Cubs fan, we need, again, just like the Kyle Tucker speech, we need PCA back to being PCA as quick as we possibly can. I can't rail on the guy because we didn't walk into the year saying, if PCA isn't an 8 or 9 WAR player, we're screwed. Right. That's not fair. But now that he's done this and he knows that he's done this, I think he really wants to get back to that part where he is that MVP candidate right now, and I don't think it's as easy as snapping your fingers. And you're seeing it right now in many facets of his game. So I thought Craig sitting him tonight was maybe to give him that type of an opportunity and against a lefty, so I get it. Good matchup, easy call there. But to then bring him into the game like that, it backfired because he came in chomping at the bit. He came in drooling a little bit, and it cost him.
Yeah, I feel like this would have been a game if Justin Steele were pitching and things were going wrong that you would have seen.
Get you out of the game.
Seen that fire. I don't know. Something's going on. Obviously, it all goes back to the offense is struggling right now, and a lot of guys are pressing to try and help turn it around. Do we have more Toyota Super Chat, Sarah? I thought I saw a couple of them.
We had a big boy.
Whoa.
Doctor.
Sell the Team Ricketts Super Chat 50. Great job, Jed. Got himself an extension. All he had to do was trade for a washed-up injured starter. The Brewers series will be important for the Cubs' wild card chances. Division's lost, and we might as well accept it. This team sucks. Appreciate your super chat and your positivity. Steven says, again, Steven's jumped in for $2 more, says, PCA's immaturity and attitude is pissing me off. I'm not going to go that way because I don't want him to
lose the edge. You don't want him to
I don't want it.
It's
just like Javi, I don't want to rein it in, but I think he knows and veteran players have tried to get to him and say, listen, there's a way to channel it.
Yeah.
that will help you become a better player. And he's working on that. It's just that he's young, and it's not easy, and this is a very difficult spot he is in at the moment. So more on that in a second. Plus, we will talk about the Brewers and Schwarbs. But first, a word from our sponsors. Oh, fellas, I've been living in Cook County for more than 40 years. I've been paying property taxes for more than 20 as a homeowner in Cook County. And overpaying for property taxes is something way too many people are doing in Cook County. You don't have to be one of them. In Cook County, the appeals window varies by township. It closes rapidly. It can be really difficult to win. So let Ownwell's experts ensure that you are prepared for when it counts. Sign up in less than 3 minutes. In Cook County, Ownwell has a 25% contingent fee, meaning you only pay if your property taxes are reduced. Property tax money, it can go right back in your pocket. 86% of Ownwell's customers receive a reduction, so save money on your Cook County property taxes with Ownwell. Sign up in less than 3 minutes and start your appeal today at ownwell.com/cook. That's OWNWELL.com/cook.
Hey, Cubs fans, we love Wrigley Field. Why? Because it gives us a home field advantage. Well, why not have a home floor advantage? And Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today, flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. We've all been to the big box stores. We've tried our might to sound like we know what we're talking about, but really, those people don't know what they're talking about either. And they might be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. So Empire Today, look, they live and breathe flooring. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So here's what you got to do. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. CHGO listeners, that's right, you listening right now can receive a $350 discount when using promo code CHGO. Yes, you heard that right. $350 discount with code CHGO. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com. CHGO for full details. You know the song. 588-2300 Empire. Michael Jordan basketball.
All right, before we get to more things that'll make you miserable tonight, let's find a little silver lining in this game. A little tiny silver lining.
I see it.
It was Ben Brown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hats off to Ben Brown for coming in and 4 solid innings, a bunch of strikeouts, 1 earned run, some bad luck. He did his job. Listen, I want to see him in the bullpen role. I know some people were thinking maybe it was an opener. Says Soroka was an opener. No, we now know that Soroka was indeed injured, headed to the injured list with shoulder strain. Ben Brown came in unexpectedly and did a nice job. We'll need to see more of that the rest of the season.
Yep.
And now you're going to be counting on him again. I don't know. Maybe Kenta Maeda is going to pitch for the Cubs this year. I didn't think it was going to happen, but now I'm starting to think it might happen.
He opted out of his contract yesterday.
Oh, well, then he's not going to do it.
Nope.
Chris Flexen, come on back, baby. We miss you.
Sexy Flexi, what are you up to?
Chris, come back. Wasn't it
Kenta
you?
Maeda left yesterday?
Yeah. He's gone.
Gone where?
I'm on so many cold meds I can't keep track of it all.
Well,
somebody in the
the
chat
year is
said
2025.
Somebody on the chat said I look checked out. You got that right.
You got that, buddy. Well, wasn't it you? We were talking about Ben Brown during the game. Was it you that said that we need to start tricking Ben Brown?
Yeah.
And blindfolding him to the stadium and like spinning him in a
like
chair.
a horse with blinders.
Yeah, and then being like just letting him know when he's in the game so he can just come out of the barn throwing. Because, I thought fastball control looked good. I mean, he was really trusting the breaking ball. I saw him throw it 3, 4, 5 times in a sequence. I think tonight was good Ben Brown. Does that mean that I have confidence and optimism that next rotation turn is going to be good Ben Brown? He's a bit of a 50-50 coin flip, but if Luke, silver lining, something peering through the clouds right now that isn't the bad air quality in Chicago.
That's
Ben
killing
Brown,
me too.
right?
Well, what about Kenta Maeda? Boy, the chat's all over me now. He's out. All right, Maeda's great. We rehabbed the guy's career, and now he's with the Yankees.
I speak for the chat. I'm like the Lorax of the chat.
Listen, guys, I've checked out. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
You asked for a late checkout, too.
I did it. I always ask for a late
Always
checkout.
ask for a
That's
late
true. That's a good deal.
Never done that before.
Man, there's like the 8th person to tell me that now. Thank you.
I've got 2 things about Craig Counsell, and I'm typically a Craig Counsell defender.
Uh-huh.
One of these is with Ben Brown. They used the opener on him earlier this year, and it was fantastic. I think Ben Brown went 6 innings, 1 hit after that. And then they immediately had him start again. And things started to go a little bit downhill. And even after he used the opener, Brown said a lot of it was the mentality of, all right, I'm not starting. I just needed to kind of see the ball go through the hoop. And
It's a little wound up.
Yeah. Where if he changes his routine and knows that he's coming in and technically in relief, then that worked out for him well. Considering that Ben Brown is going to have to be a big part of this team down the stretch, I would like to see them use an opener for him. Secondly, Craig is going to need to trust the arms that they have just acquired, minus Soroka, in higher leverage with the lead. Rogers came in after they had already given it up. Kittredge is good. You got him for a reason. I don't need to see Ryan Brazier in that situation. And Caleb Thielbar doesn't need to pitch in 4 out of 5 games. I understand that he has a circle of trust. It is time to reevaluate and see, all right, Caleb Thielbar, this is that 2-week stretch where he's going to get dinged up a couple of times. Start getting the other guys in there. That's it.
Steven says, if you're checked out, why are you even working? Steven, I love you. It's sarcasm, man. I'm joking. I'm right here. I'm here. I'm just a little hopped.
This is the Cal Ripken.
I'm just a little hopped up on the cold meds. That's all.
Meanwhile, we have another super chat.
Another super
Sell
chat.
the Team Ricketts. At this rate, we're going to buy the Cubs.
That's
with
right.
all the wonderful donations. From
Ron Coomer had the best advice for PCA yesterday. Get back to basics. Stop trying to be the hero. Watch the ball, hit the dang bat, and get on base. Even I can see him pulling his head out from my radio. But
completely agree. I mean, we did this on a show last week, but you were seeing it again that, like, I think sometimes I think baseball, to be a little meatball for a moment, can humble you from time to time.
Yeah.
And we've seen PCA hit the ball, at his shoes, and we've seen him hit it at his eyes. And I think that got to the point where he thought that, I can get to every single high and away fastball. I can hit every slider that's coming at my back foot because I can get in there and get it. And sure, he has the talent to do that, but at the same time, I think it can easily put him into these kinds of ruts. Like, look at the first at-bat that he had tonight where he swung at the first pitch. The very next pitch was just at his knees, just at the bottom of the zone, and he's just guessing wrong. And I think he's not – sometimes you have to play the percentages with where you think your strengths are in the zone. And PCA can probably hit any ball in the zone, in any part of the strike zone that he wants to. But again, it's a higher percentage if he can start reeling in a little bit closer to what he can do in attack and be the most dangerous with on a consistent basis. And for him, that's just about kind of chilling out a little bit. And I get it. He's the type of player that goes out and gets the game. But meatball phrase again, maybe the game needs to come to him a little bit more. You know,
at one point in, I want to say June, there was a point in time where PCA did lead baseball in barrels on pitches out of the strike zone.
Oh yeah,
like we know that he can also That's also when he's hot. That's also when he's doing well,
and it makes him special. But it can bite him in the butt.
Bite him in the butt.
Yeah. And
Cubs now 3 games behind the Brewers. The point is this. It is a very important stretch for the Cubs. You have the games against the Reds, who, by the way, are still in the wild card chase.
Yep.
And if they get to the postseason, are a dangerous team because of their starting pitching. Then you have the games against the Cardinals. And you mentioned the Blue Jays. This is a tough 9-game stretch. Tough. And that's before you get the big series coming up. There's the Pirates in between, but you get the big series with the Brewers. It's important to fix whatever's wrong pretty quickly, because if you don't, pretty quickly it could slip away. I'm not saying it's going to, but things need to get fixed. That said, let's all breathe a little bit of relief and say they did enter the night with the second best record in baseball.
That's part of
it. Just doesn't feel like it. And the trade deadline and kind of the way they've been playing, yada yada yada, still makes you say, I don't feel great. But when you zoom out and look at it and say they entered the night with the second best record in baseball, despite all these things we're worried about, we're going to be all right.
Well, Patrick, cosmetically, right? Like, they're not a team that's winning 9 or 10 games in a row.
think.
They've won 3 or 4 in a row. They never lose more than 3 in a row. They don't lose a ton of series. They're just kind of like, the eye test is sort of steady Eddie, and they continue to do that, but the Brewers are just in fuego.
For what it's worth, I think that stretch is probably coming. I have to think that they turn this around at some point, and just rattle off 5 in a row. Again, it's going to be very tough with who they're playing. So
It'd be nice if it happened against Milwaukee.
Right? Yeah. Just after that series, then only be down by 2, based on how the next 2 weeks will go. Anyway, if you forced me to answer right now, I still think that I'd still say that they win the division.
The Cubs.
Yeah.
Boy,
But
even after the Brewers caught them,
just wait.
I was still 80% Cubs win this division.
Yeah.
After the trade deadline, and now the main pitcher that you acquired, which we all agreed was the biggest need for this team, was a top 3 starter, hopefully a top 2 starter. Now that the player that they acquired, who was not a top 3 starter, is headed to the injured list after 2 innings,
I'm
closer to 50-50 than I've ever been.
Wow.
Even though I'm saying stay positive, I think it's going to happen. I'm 70-30,
the
60-40.
3 of us were on the trade deadline show, so we spent the trade deadline together.
Yeah.
With Jared. We not clowned, but we joked about Milwaukee's big acquisition being, first off, Andrew Vaughn, and then secondly, at the deadline, Jordan Montgomery, who's out for the year.
Yeah, Soroka got 2 more innings than Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah.
So how do you like that, Milwaukee?
Well, it really is just kind of that's the situation that they're in now, too. Oops.
So for me, and if you're reading the tea leaves on this, right? I mean, you look at, they added bullpen pieces. Soroka's off the board. But isn't that also a bit of a signal and an indication that Jed believes at the end of the day that our offense would either return to form or come close to a facsimile of what it was about a month or 2 ago, and you think that is what's going to carry the day, and that's what's going to beat the Brewers? That has to be the thought process, right? So I'm kind of now asking the question, is it time to bring Ian Happ back into the leadoff spot? And let's just kind of stop messing around with this stuff in August and who's hitting cleanup here and who's hitting leadoff here. And Michael Busch is hitting 8th one day and he's hitting leadoff the other day, and Nico's here and Nico's all over the place. I'm not a person that's they need to have the same lineup every day for continuity. But you do have to ask yourself, is it time to maybe go back to a version of what was working a little bit? I'm just going to be honest with you. I like Carson Kelly as a player. Him as a cleanup hitter doesn't really do it for me. So maybe is Ian Happ your cleanup hitter? I don't know. Michael Busch your cleanup hitter? I'm now asking myself the question, should we just move Ian Happ back to the leadoff spot and see if we can get a little bit of that mojo going again at the top of the lineup?
Anthony Rizzo is a free agent. Get him there in the
No, I know you're. I know that you're joking. I also have noticed that some of the Brewers fans are bored and they've gotten into our chat tonight.
Really?
Yes. Well, what else is there to do in Wisconsin?
Not much. Really.
It's pretty much Potawatomi Casino
Cops.
and Hotel, and that's it.
Cops
Custard. Good to have you there.
Cops Custard is the other one that's good
boy.
up there. But anybody that's saying this is clearly a lesser team than Milwaukee, what? I guess the first third of the season for the Brewers doesn't count.
Yeah.
The Cubs are going through a tougher stretch right now. They're still over 500 in their last 30 games, even though they're not playing great baseball. They're 2.5 games behind Milwaukee, right?
Which is the mark of a good team, is playing above 500 ball
when you're playing
when
poorly.
you're going through it.
Right. I'm not ready to throw it. All I'm saying is, am I closer to – I used to think there was no way the Cubs were going to lose the division. Do I think that's still the case. I still think the Cubs win the division, but those numbers are much lower than they were before, specifically because what the Cubs did or did not do at the trade deadline. Not enough, in my opinion.
The other factor, too, just real quick with that, is that Brewers 5-game series just gets bigger and looms larger every single day and inning and game that both teams play. I think that probably makes Cubs fans more uncomfortable right now than Brewers fans. But again, if you were a Brewers fan in the chat, thank you for supporting. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Send us a super chat.
Yeah, make sure you come back when that series is. But also keep in mind, Brewers fans, that's a 5-game series at Wrigley Field. A lot can evaporate and change very quickly for both sides, for both dugouts. But for Cubs fans, unfortunately, that's just turning into a huge series.
And for any Brewers fans that want to meet us in person and maybe talk about the games coming up, reminder, we have our Die Hard event happening, and you can come to the event on the 18th of August.
Beautiful.
We'll talk some Robin Yount.
Yeah.
I'll talk a little Paul
Just a little
Molitor.
reminder. We welcome anybody.
Listen, the Cubs have Shota on the mound tomorrow for Game 2 against the Reds. And the beginning of the season, I thought the Reds were more of a threat than, honestly, the Brewers would be this year to the division. Still think the Reds can be dangerous the rest of the season.
Never count out a Terry Francona team.
No, and it feels like his teams always play better the second half of that first season, and it seems like that might be the case again this year. We'll see where they're at.
They don't always play better in the second half of a series, though.
That would be nice.
People forget Terry Francona.
Basically, Shota's on the mound. We've asked Shota and Boyd to be stoppers all season long. Shota's got to do it, right? Like the last time it was good because the home runs were solo home runs. It wasn't a great Shota start. The way the offense is playing right now, you need Shota to be great in Game 2 of this series. You need him to step up and be really good to get you a chance to potentially still win this series. And that is something the Cubs have been good at.
It's a game where if he were healthy, you'd be thinking, man, thank goodness Justin Steele's up tomorrow because you know that he'll deliver in the big moment. And I think Shota and Matt Boyd, and we're starting to kind of put Kate Horton in that conversation of they're capable of performing in the big moment. Justin Steele just always kind of seemed to be the guy who stepped up when the team needed it most.
Well, Boyd was great last time around.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, exactly what you're describing. Was Matthew Boyd in his last start,
and it was still a loss.
Yeah,
not his fault.
not his fault. But again, this is what it's going to take, and I think that's what we keep hammering. And I think a lot of Cubs fans, that's what's bringing the frustration. Is that if you roll the clocks back maybe 6 or 7 weeks ago, you can count the major difference makers, the dangerous hitters and pitchers on this team that would scare opposing players. I think you'd get to a second hand, right? And right now, what do we keep talking about? We need Kyle Tucker to get going. We need Seiya Suzuki to get going. You know, PCA is still a star, but he's still learning the game. He's going through a little bit of a patch. Shota went through a little bit of a patch. We need him to get back into it. You know, outside of maybe Boyd and, Palencia, I don't see a lot of guys that are dangerous right now to opposing players, and the Cubs just need to get back to that. And I hope that it's soon. I hope that it's tomorrow.
Yeah, and when Palencia blew the save the other day, I don't feel like, of course he's going to have some games where it's not perfect.
This is his first one.
Right? So that's going to happen. Yeah. He's going to give up runs. It's not going to be perfect the rest of the season. But I still feel okay about where the Cubs were with that at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
It's the other stuff that the number one thing was still the starting pitching. Maybe they did buy damaged goods. But if that's the case and they bought damaged goods, I saw somebody in the chat say that Soroka said he had an MRI before the trade. Well, I don't know what to say. All I can do is, look, anybody else look at the numbers and say, well, his fastball's down. His fastball's down significantly. Like, what's going on? That was the big move.
Well, and considering that his velocity was down before the deadline and the MRI was fine, you got to hope that the shoulder strain isn't. I'll let Brendan Miller kind of tell me what's what on this matter, but at some point, the conversation will come up, and I'll bring it up now. Did the tweaks that the Cubs pitching staff make since acquiring Mike Soroka lead to the shoulder strain? Did they change his arm angle? Did they change anything like that?
So,
I doubt it, but it's just a conversation to consider.
The only way that I would push back and counter on that is I just don't think that they've had a lot of time to really implement probably what they were interested in and trying to get that particular kind of shape. Now they could have said to themselves, "Hey, I think these are the pitches I think you're going to win with," and I could also see them maybe going like, "Hey, man, like we know your velocity's down. You know your velocity's down. We all have a radar gun. It's all good. We're going to put a plan in place for this pitching performance that is going to get you through, that we think is going to be a winning pitching performance from you." And in the first inning, there were some 12 to 6 curveballs that looked pretty nice. He struck out 3 hitters in the first inning. And then he rolled that one to Stevenson. And it just kind of makes you think a little bit. Sometimes this could be a freakish thing that maybe the Cubs couldn't have possibly have known. But at the same time, it is just, you can't run away from the fact that it's a really bad look. And we've been spending so much time talking about the trade deadline and bringing people in. He's the guy that Jed Hoyer went on in front of a microphone and said, we think that he's the guy. We've liked him for so long. We've tried to acquire him before. Yeah. And he's going to be the guy. And then to see this result, you just can't run away from it.
Yes, Tyler, it's exactly what you're saying. Listen to what's being said. Mike Soroka was the big move. Yeah.
Bingo.
That's why we were all frustrated in the trade deadline show, because that's the problem.
We were stunned.
And I still don't get the idea of, well, we realized the price was big and you got to worry about the future too. I understand that. But prospects are prospects, and there's nothing to be said about if you spend heavy and you go get Mackenzie Gore and it costs you some guys that you don't want to give up, right? And it doesn't work out and you don't win the World Series and you end up saying, you know what, maybe that wasn't worth it. Then all you have to do is take Mackenzie Gore and trade him in the offseason for big prospects back, because you'd get the same, no matter how bad his last 2 months would be, if you really wanted to get the prospects back and had buyer's remorse, you could get them back. You could get a package almost as close as to what you just spent. Some would say equal, because there's more buyers in the offseason. Everybody's looking for pitching. It's like what you did with Paredes.
Yes.
So I don't care who you went to go get. If you overspend, as long as it's a controllable player, you can always correct it. It's always chess pieces moving around, but sometimes it feels like the Cubs are so afraid to move those. Look what the Padres do. I know they haven't won the World Series doing it yet.
No.
But, man, as a fan, that would be fun.
Well, and there's got to be a middle ground. There has to be.
Sure.
And it's
Paredes is a perfect example of that. They traded for a guy, and then they turned him into Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
And Soroka's not a middle ground. You know what I mean? Middle ground.
No,
middle ground to me.
He's mid.
Yeah, but middle ground to me was.
Sorry, that wasn't fair to a guy that got hurt tonight. But it's not. None of it's his fault.
No one. Look, everyone's eyebrows went up when he got traded, right? I mean,
he wasn't jumping up with a sign that said, "No." And Jed, trade for me.
And honestly, middle ground to me was Charlie Morton. Middle ground to me was somewhere along the day that Justin Verlander was open to trade or something like that. And I'm not saying that those guys would have came in and lit the world on fire, but they have a track record. Both of them obviously were healthy. That's more of like, I'm bringing in an old veteran arm, the John Lackey, if you will, to come in and try and eat up some innings and have some bullets. And I think Jed also kind of wanted to have it both ways, where he thought this, Soroka might have been this diamond in the rough, and also a guy that can kind of help him bridge the gap to maybe a Tyone return, an Assad return. And it's blown up in his face. Injuries are part of the game.
I don't have a problem with the Soroka move. I just wanted it to be the second or third move to the rotation.
Right. Sure, that too.
Right? Yeah. I wanted a big move, and then I wanted the roll of the dice.
Adrian Hauser,
they gave fans the roll of the dice.
We had this conversation on last Thursday. Adrian Hauser would have made us feel a lot better about this deadline. not even in place of Mike Soroka. Just in addition to whatever you want to say, I think Adrian Hauser gives you a different perspective on, all right, they couldn't get the top of the line because none of the top of the line guys were being moved. That's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, look up Charlie Morton's last 10 starts, chat, and just tell me if it's better than Soroka, and we'll just let the numbers decide for themselves.
I mean, Neer's talking about Jack Flaherty and Max Fried be available. They were available in the offseason when I wish the Cubs would have signed him.
Yeah.
I wish the problem would have been taken care of ahead of time when we were told the Cody Bellinger money was going to be spent. That's where I'd like seeing some of that money go.
Sure.
But I don't know. The Cubs have gone a different route. I hope it works out. This was a frustrating start to this series. I know that. Because the Cubs have played some sloppy baseball lately.
Well, and
in addition to all that. And they played great baseball early in the season.
We need to take it one stride to first base at a time. A stride that touches first base at a time.
Oy.
And work our way back around. And look, I'm not it's okay to be upset tonight. I also would try and advocate and implore to Cubs fans that we have seen the Cubs lay duds to open up series before. They have been capable most of the season of winning these series and coming back and putting together strong performances. And I do have to bank on that. But again, we are seeing a lot of different issues continue to creep up with this team, whether it is pitching depth. The offense, especially the top of the order now, has been a problem since the All-Star break. And now we've seen little mental stuff. I mean, it wasn't just the play at first base with Dansby, too, as well. He had an error in the field. Ian Happ did the best he could to trap the ball in left field. But, I think, Sarah, you brought up a great point where you're like, that's Ian Happ's village. That's his land out there. Like
Patrick said he's been there 7 years now.
Who?
Ian Happ.
Happen.
Yeah,
in
something
left
like
field.
that,
I mean, that's his position where he's won multiple gold gloves.
Yeah, 3-time winner now.
I could never make that play, no. But he has lived in that corner
Don't sell
for
yourself
years
short.
and years and years. So it's like I don't have a lot of patience for those kind of plays, and especially we're in the second half of the season. We're in August baseball, so my patience is probably a little more thin than it should be. And I just think he should have made that play.
When you slump at the plate, you slump in the field.
Yeah.
Dansby is a great example of that tonight with the error at short.
Yeah, and when you're
despite hitting the 2-run homer and being the Cubs' only actual
Marquis came out
offense
with their interview with Dansby. I just listened to it, and he was saying he's never made that play ever in his career. He's like I've never done
missing
that
the
before,
base,
missing the
probably.
base.
stepped short of the bag.
And I was,
unbelievable.
because JD tried to cover for him and was like, he just mistimed the long stride. It's like,
It's fine.
I
He's been doing
promise
it
you,
for
these guys
10
are
years.
such maniacs that they have this down to like centimeters. They know exactly how long their stride should be, how many steps they should take with their left and right foot that maximizes and most efficiently gets them to first base. It is nothing short of just a mental error. I'm with him. I hope and pray that he would never do it again, or he never did it before. But like, it's just
pray to a dead relative.
it can't happen.
He will think about those two plays a lot more than he will the home run tonight. I guarantee you that. Joe DiGiacomo with another Toyota Super Chat. And thanks for all the Super Chats tonight,
Yeah,
despite
that's very
the
nice.
bad outcome at Wrigley Field. Joe DiGiacomo for $4.99. The pressure the Brewers are putting on this team with their historic run is a real thing, and the Cubs look like they are feeling it.
Joe Madden would have brought in the
Joe,
petting
I
zoo
don't
by now.
I don't disagree with it. I think the pressure the Brewers are applying, but also the pressure that the Cubs are applying to themselves, trying to somehow get out of this muck that they are in.
Yeah.
They're still winning some series, but they aren't playing their best baseball right now. And they've got to find a way out of it, especially offensively. And now, frankly, they're going to have to find some answers in the rotation again. And they're going to have to get some people right in the bullpen. They've been scrambling there a little bit. So it's not trending in a great direction, but they're still 3 games back, 2.5, 3. It's 3 games back, right? 3 games back. And they still have 5 games against the Brewers coming up. You got a lot of stuff going on before the end of the season. A lot of baseball. We will be here tomorrow night for a full hour after the game against the Reds. Shota Imanaga on the mound for the Cubs. Cubs lose game 1 of the series to the Reds after having a 2-1 lead. They lose 3-2. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by Toyota and Bet. 365. Thanks to Joey and Patrick for jumping in tonight. Again, be here tomorrow. If anything goes on or we get some big breaking news, we'll always jump in for you.
Always.
But my guess is we'll just be back here tomorrow night, hopefully under much better circumstances. Can't get worse than tonight. Put away the voodoo doll. Don't forget to fly the W. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.